Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 6A in mid-Michigan. And today we're going to be potting up some plants that I got and I'm excited to show you them. We're going to be potting them here in the Potager as well as alongside the pool. And it's going to be a great day to start getting things in. So let's take a look at what we're working with here in the Potager. So here in the Potager, I have two gorgeous black pots that I really love, and I've just found some of these gorgeous junipers that we're going to be planting in these pots because I think they're going to look really nice. Also, this is an area that gets full sun, and it's sometimes an area that I forget to water because there's not as many pots over here. So this is a great and wonderful plant to have in these pots. So let me tell you a little bit more about these plants. These are blue star junipers. These are a fairly common juniper that you might see around your neighborhood. These are amazing accent plants. They have a beautiful mounding habit. They're a gorgeous silvery blue, and so they definitely kind of stand out against some of the greenery that is here because we don't have that color so much in this area of the garden. These do require being moist when you're first planting them, but after that they're quite water-wise. These get to be about 2 to 3 feet tall and about 3 to 4 feet wide. So they do get quite large, or I would say maybe moderate, but they grow fairly slowly. So they're a great plant to plant and not have to worry about. And I would also just say that they're not that expensive. So these are $11.98 each, and I think that's a great deal. They're also really hardy plants. They're hardy down to -30, which means that they're hardy down to zone 4. So I'm going to try to keep these in this pot over winter. We'll see how that goes. I'm a zone 6A, so zone 4 should be a very decent way to be able to keep these safe in the pot over the winter. All right, let's dig these in. I'm not going to do anything real special to these in order to get them into these pots. I'm not going to add any fertilizers or anything like that. I do actually want them to grow nice and slow for me because I'd like them to stay in these pots for a few years if possible. I think they're beautiful kind of contrast to the black with their blue foliage. So hopefully it will work out. And I may come back through with some other plants just to fill in around the edges at some point this year. But I don't know. There might not be enough root space in these pots, so I might just keep these junipers as the lone stars. All right, perfect. This one was definitely nice and moist, so I'm not going to water this one in. Let's see if we can get the tag off. Yeah, I'm notorious for leaving these tags on for a long period of time before I actually take them off. All right, let's get this one done. These are going to be a cute little pair here. Now some of this is decently fresh soil, so I'm not replacing it. Junipers actually do not like to have soil that is real moist, and they don't like to have it really fertilized or anything like that. So you have to be careful with it. They like good drainage. And these in these black pots are going to get so hot that the junipers are going to love it, I think. All right, and this one, I just watered both of these junipers yesterday, so this one was nice and moist as well. And I'm just going to leave it so it can enjoy its first day in the pot. There we go. All right, well, we have two beautiful blue star junipers tucked in and ready to enjoy their time in the potager garden. Let's head over to the pool now and we'll do some plantings over there. All right, so over here on this side of the pool, we have quite a few pots. The only one that has anything in it is this rose here on the end. This is the All the Rage rose, and we took that out of the long border over there and replaced it with a strawberry sundae hydrangea. And I think that it's going to be much happier over here because it will get 100% sunshine all day long. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that does. I may add another rose on the end over here. But for now, we are going to be filling this middle pot, and we're going to be filling it with an Alberta spruce. So let me grab that. Well, one of my goals this year has been to add more evergreen interest to the garden. I think it's a wonderful thing to have because it provides a great contrast in terms of the needle structure next to broadleaves or other type of deciduous plants. And in addition to that, it gives you that four-season color. And then evergreens are often very restful for the eye because they're typically just one color and not variegated and don't have flowers. So I am just trying to add a little bit at a time and trying to look at ones that stay small or have a small growth rate. So this is a dwarf Alberta spruce, and this one is a landscape focal point, oftentimes used that way. And this one is 3 to 4 feet high by 3 to 4 feet wide, so it doesn't get super huge. This one is also hardy down to a zone 4, so that's part of why I'm planting this here as well, because I want to try to see if it will overwinter in a pot. And so I leave these pots out all winter, and this one should be okay here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it grows. I used to take the emerald green arborvitas, I can't talk, and I would plant them into the pots out here, and then I would have 2 of them by the time fall came to plant out into the landscape. Well, if you've seen my emerald green arborvitas, you know that they are quite large now, and they're really beautiful, but I don't need any more of them. So I've had to kind of switch up what I use in these pots. So now we're going to give this Alberta spruce a try and see how that goes. It looks like I'm going to need just a little bit more soil than what I had in this bag, so let me grab my other bag of soil. Now this soil is not moist because it's coming straight out of the bag. I mean, it's just barely moist, so I will definitely water in this Alberta spruce before we're done. It's going to be another beautiful day here in Michigan. We are kind of hitting the high 70s and 80s right now pretty frequently, but then it's going to cool down. Now I'm planting things today because I also know that we're probably going to have scattered thunderstorms throughout this weekend. So it's a perfect time to get things in the ground or into pots because they will get some of that nice natural rainwater that they absolutely love. I definitely will be coming through with some annuals around this. I haven't decided exactly what. I've been to Home Depot and I've been to Lowe's, and I haven't really seen much that I like. So I may run over to Van Ada's, one of the local nurseries around here, and see what they have left this season, because I think it'd be very nice to have something kind of spilling out from under this, maybe something purple. Purple is always a beautiful contrast color to green. All right, I think this looks really good. I'm just gonna leave this for now. I'll come back and water it later. I also just need to take this tag off, you guys. I always forget. I don't know why. There we go. Well, I also have this gorgeous focal point plant that I would like to plant right here into this blue pot. And this is a color guard yucca, which is also an evergreen, but it definitely has a very different texture from this Alberta spruce. Very long, strappy, lance-like leaves. And this one is very water-wise. It can be a little bit of a challenge to get my my hose all the way to this side of the pool. And there are actually 3 of these yuccas in here. So I'm going to try to divide them, and we're going to plant 2 of them, 1 in each of these big containers. And while they probably won't look like much right now, as they grow on, and hopefully they will grow quite quickly, they will really fill in these containers. And I think these will be a really nice pop of color in the winter time. So right now I'm just roughing up the roots a bit, and I'm going to need to use my trowel on this. And once I get it divided, when we start planting, I'll tell you a little bit more about this plant. Okay, so this is the smallest one, so I'm actually going to take this one off and continue to grow this one on. And then we'll see if I can use this trowel just to divide these last 2. Oh, good. I'm going to be able to do this. I thought it might be really difficult. Not a problem here. Okay, and these will grow little pups, so eventually it will fill out. But now I've got 1 for each of these containers. Last year I grew some dahlias in these containers, and they did pretty well, but overall I still just really wanted to grow something else here. So these are golden sword yucca, and they are described as boldly striped green and creamy yellow sword-like leaves topped by tall, showy spikes of fragrant ivory white blooms in spring. It forms dramatic clumps with age, and it takes full sun, and once established, you only water if it is very dry. These are hardy down to zone 4, and so again, in my zone 6 garden, these should be able to overwinter without having a problem. The only challenge in my zone is how wet it gets in the wintertime and whether that will cause these to rot. Hopefully not if they're in a pot. And I'm just going to put both of these like right in the center of the pots, because I hope to put some pretty annuals around the outside. Looks like I still have some dahlia roots in here that I need to get rid of. I kind of left them in the pot, so they just, they rot out in the winter time. They're not hardy in our zone. If they were, I would probably grow a whole lot more of them. All right, I'm gonna probably need to come through with a little bit more soil around this when I add the annuals. But for now, I think that looks great. So for now, a beautiful addition of evergreens to these pots. And again, if I can get a rose in this pot, I'm thinking about one of the ones that's over here. They don't do that great because they get a little too much sunshine, or not enough sunshine. So I have a tiny rose right here, which is Grandma's Blessing. And then there's one down there that is called Music Box, and they just do not get enough sunlight. So I'm probably gonna dig one of those up and put it in the pot. All right, this is what we call gardening on the fly. So I did dig up the Music Box rose. That's the one that I decided to because it was in the most shade. And I just couldn't walk away from these planters without having them all have a plant in them today. And I am going to need to grab some more of my soil. Now normally over here in these pots I have just planted annuals. I've not planted perennials before. So this is going to be a really fun experiment to see what does well, what comes back, what doesn't come back. I'm trying to aim for, you know, not having to do quite as much maintenance with the pots in terms of spending so much money on annuals. So if you have a nice focal point that is a perennial and you can just continue to add annuals around it, I think that's a really good way to go. And since I got the soil out, we are going to put it around this other one as well. All right, I think that looks real good. Well, let's move over now to the other poolside planters. See, I moved the pillars that I have, which I am going to still paint. So I've got those under the big pots. And then in these two blue pots, I'm going to be planting some hydrangeas that I grew from stem cuttings. I think they're just PG hydrangeas. I'm not even sure what they are, but I'm looking forward to having them because they'll definitely put on some blooms and be really pretty over here. These have been growing on in these pots for a couple of years now. So let's see what happens when we get them out. They've been growing in the compost. I'll be interested to see what their roots look like in here. Okay. I think this one was actually planted a little too deeply in its pot. So we will rectify that here. And I want to put its best face kind of towards the pool here. And I'm just leaving the compost in here because it has some really great nutrition. And I even see some little critters. And then we'll add some nice fresh potting soil on top. These roots seem to be a little bit root bound here, so I'm gonna kind of push them down into the soil. Kind of spinning around the plant, which you don't really want. Now these, because they're new plants, they're not really in a great shape, if you will, a shrubby shape, but that will happen over time. And these should be hardy down to a zone 3. So these are also something that I should be able to overwinter in the pots, but these are not pots that I can leave out all winter, so I will have to take these and put these in my garden shed. And because these are new shrubs, I also will be getting some annuals to put around these. So I look forward to showing you what it is that I get and decide to put around these. And I'm definitely interested in getting your opinion, you guys, in terms of these pillars and what color to paint them, because I don't want to keep them the color that they are. I was thinking about doing them black, but I'm not sure. So if you have ideas about what color to do them, another option would be maybe a darker blue color that kind of goes with some of the colors in the pool and goes with some of the other pot colors. But I'm not sure that that would go as well with the pots that are at the top here. So that's why I was thinking black, a little bit more neutral. So one of the reasons why I wanted to create this video for you guys today is to kind of give you the idea that it's okay to start a pot with maybe just a focal point and not have every single ingredient that you need to put a pot together, but just to get started and to go for it. And then when you find what you want, finish it off. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect right from the start. And these plants will begin to adapt before we start to get some of the annuals around them as well. All right, well, I think that those look like a really lovely start. It's kind of starting to soften the area. And I want to get some really good trailers on the pots that kind of overhang. And then I need to clean out this pot, the cement pot, because the honeysuckle did not overwinter well. So that was that beautiful gold flame honeysuckle. I hoped that it would overwinter, but it did not. So I've got to pull that one out of the pot as well. Well, as you can see, I've gotten these plants watered in, and I totally forgot, you guys, that I had bought these Vincas actually at Home Depot just the other day. So we're gonna pop these in because these will be a nice color. They are kind of a bright peachy pink, and they will fill in really well. These get about 12 inches high by about 6 to 12 inches wide. So I'm only gonna put like, I think 4 of them in each pot here. That should really fill out good. These Vincas do really well in sun. Now, they don't have any blooms on them right now because they were looking a little bit leggy, so I cut them back, and that will help them to bush out a bit. Well, there we go. Now we're done. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll get to planting the rest of them up really soon. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.